What is up, everybody? Welcome to another amazing video. Well, I hope it's an amazing video where we're going over the NFL playoffs still. I don't know what channel it's on, but I think CBS, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, Ravens and Bills may be the best matchup. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say second best because everyone loves Brady and Breeze. But this is the at worst second best matchup in the divisional round. It's an absolutely amazing matchup. Very good defenses, very good offenses. It's going to be great. It's going to be an amazing game. But for those of you who are new to these type of videos that I do, I explain my train of thought. Is it always a coherent train of thought? No, it rarely is. But it is what I think about when I make my prediction. So let's get into it. My first train of thought is why I think the Ravens will win. I'm going to start there. Lamar Jackson. He's the absolute reason why the Ravens win, because he proved last week he doesn't need to throw the ball. 16 attempts, 136 yards, 8.5 yards per carry, 1 touchdown, 48 yards on the ground, or 48 yard long on the ground. That's amazing. That's better than the league leader in running did. I know it's running just against Derrick Henry. When the Ravens and Titans played, Jackson had less attempt or the same amount of attempts, almost 80 more yards, and one more touchdown. But yeah, Lamar has proven that he doesn't need to throw, which is at times is good. He doesn't need to throw. As you saw, one of his the big play, their first big play attempt ended up in an interception. They did have one shortly after, I think in the second quarter, where it was either the second or third quarter where they did get a big play out of it on a beautiful throw by Lamar. So at times it is good that he doesn't need to throw, but also times he can throw. He is a capable thrower, but at times it is nice that he has the ability to rush for 136 yards with an 8.5 yards per carry average. Absolutely amazing. Lamar Jackson will absolutely be a reason why the Ravens will win. Next is their defense in general, but specifically for me, their rushing defense. Their rushing defense has given up 84 yards per game in the last 3 games, which is third in the NFL. And against Derrick Henry, as I mentioned, 51 yards versus Derrick Henry. They give up 0.7 rushing touchdowns per game, which is second in the league, and zero in the last 3 games. Not a single rushing touchdown in the last 3 games, which is first in the NFL. That's amazing. But talking about rushing, you got to look at their offense too. Another reason, it's elite. They average 28.7 points per game, which is 7th in the league. Led by with 1.5 rushing touchdowns per game, which is second in the NFL, and 1.7 in the last 3, which is third in the NFL. Their rushing offense is, as you see, top 10, or rushing offense alone, top 3. Almost no matter how you look at it. But yeah, this rushing offense is elite. We saw Tennessee struggled to slow it down, let alone stop it. This offense is absolutely amazing. And with a great rushing offense, it leads to keeping the time of possession, keeping the ball away from Buffalo. The entire 2020 season, 16 games, they averaged 31 minutes and 30 seconds with the ball, which was 5th in the league. And in the last 3 games, they averaged 36 minutes and 26 seconds of time of possession, which has been first in the league. They will do an amazing job of keeping the ball away from the dangerous combo of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, who, speaking of the two, will be a reason why the Bills win. I do have them as 2 separate reasons here. So let's talk about Josh Allen first. Against the Colts, had an amazing game. 324 yards, 74.3% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a rating of 121.6. To add on to that, he had 11 rushing attempts, 54 yards, and 1 touchdown. So he was responsible for 3 touchdowns, 378 yards. Absolutely amazing game from Josh Allen against the Colts, who also have a very good defense. So absolutely amazing game from Allen. It will be a reason why the Bills win. But also Stephon Diggs, who against the Colts, 6 receptions, 128 yards for a 21.3 average, and 1 touchdown. Okay, this duo is absolutely amazing. One of the best in the NFL, up there with Mahomes and Kelsey or Hill, whoever you want to put in there. Breeze and Thomas, Brady and Evans, I think is the main combo there. They're among the best in the NFL. They're fun to watch. Rodgers and Adams, someone I forgot to mention, they're playing now, and I think they're 3-3. Shows you how good I am at recording videos. But those two would absolutely be the reason why the Bills win. Their offense is focused among those two. Like, it's focused on those two. That'll be the reason why they win. With the help from Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis, the passing offense is, like, unlike the Ravens rushing, the Bills passing offense is elite. I don't have exact numbers, but the third reason why I think they win is their takeaways. They average 1.5 per game, which is 4th in the league. So there's a 50-50 shot, basically, that they either get 1 or 2 turnovers per game, which in this game could be enough to push them over the edge. And also, if we want to talk about Baltimore's time of possession, we got to talk about Buffalo's averaging 31 minutes and 24 seconds in 2020, which was 6th in the league, only behind Baltimore by 6 seconds. So absolutely amazing. It'll be a grueling game, fairly low. It's probably gonna be fairly low scoring. Would be my guess, just due to the fact that both of them can keep the ball on offense for a long time. But why will the Ravens lose? Well, they're allowing sacks. They are. They average 2.2 sacks per game in 2020, 1.7 in the last 3, but 5 versus the Titans. So while it did get a little bit better, it was horrible against the Titans, allowing 5. That is, because I said this in the last video with Rodgers in regard to Bakhtiari being out. If you take sacks, that means you're going backwards, right? It's as simple as that. On a football field, you want to go forwards, not backwards. Okay, the more you go backwards, the harder it is to score. So the more sacks you give up, the harder it is to score, the harder it is to win. So you can't be giving up sacks. Another thing you can't do, and speaking of going backwards, is penalties. Baltimore had 6.4 penalties per game in 2020, which was one of the worst. 7 per game in the last 3 games, and 5 versus the Titans, which is 28th in the league, and with 1 being like the least amount of penalties, and 32nd being like 8 penalties. 5th. 5 penalties versus the Titans, not 5th. 5 penalties versus the Titans, which put them at the very bottom of the league. They can't keep doing that. Okay, they can't keep going backwards. Another thing you can't do is give the ball up to the other team. That's not an ideal thing to do. If you want to win games, typically you got to try and keep the ball, unless for some reason sorry, I lost track of that. Unless your defense is just better at scoring than your offense is, which is highly unlikely. But ideally you want to keep the ball. Baltimore fumbles. They have 1.5 fumbles per game, 1.5 fumbles per game, which lines up perfectly with Buffalo's 1.5 takeaways per game. So I am going to go out on a limb here and say that Baltimore will give up the ball. Buffalo will force a turnover on Baltimore. But that's my out on the limb right there, just due to the numbers right there. And the final reason why I think Baltimore lose, it might actually be the least important reason, which would have shocked me in the wild card. But they proved that while the reason is they're not good at throwing the ball. Not good. They don't do it. They were worst. They were dead last in the league in pass attempts per game during 2020. They were the worst. Then, in the last 3 games, It got even worse. They went to 20, so they averaged 25.3 pass attempts in 2020. It dropped to 23 pass attempts in their last 3 games and 24 against Tennessee. So yeah, they don't do a good job throwing the ball. But however, they proved they don't need to throw the ball. Okay, you know exactly what they're going to do, and they'll still make it work. That's what they showed against Tennessee. So I'm not saying it's not that bad that they can't throw the ball. It's not good. You want to be able to show that you're willing to throw the ball. But we all know they're run centered. But I personally would like to see a bit more movement through the air. It doesn't have to be too much more. Like when you look at everybody, like the next lowest is 27.5 from New England. Like if they honestly just got it up to about 32 pass attempts per game, or maybe even 30. Yeah, we'll just go with 30. 30 passing attempts per game, and I think they could win this game. But they're at 25.3, 24 against Tennessee. That's not great. Then why will the Bills lose, though? Well, their run game is basically non-existent, which it'll be absolutely nada going against one of the better run defenses in the league. They averaged 25.4 attempts per game, still more than Baltimore's passing attempts. But that was 21st in the league among in 2020, and 170 yards per game in 2020, which was 20th, I believe. Yeah, so even though that's not bad, they went from 25.4 attempts, which was 21st, to 20th in yards. So it's not atrocious. And then against Indianapolis, they only had 96 total yards on the ground, which is not good. Their run game is basically not there, and it's because it's Devin Singletary and Zach Moss at times when he's not hurt. It's like for this game, it's Devin Singletary, not the best running back. The worst of the 2 starting running backs. The worst of the 3 running backs that are going to get touches. Worst of 4 if Mark Ingram's playing. But yeah, it's not looking good for Baltimore's or Buffalo's running game. Sorry. Another reason I talked about Baltimore's penalties. Well, what about Buffalo's penalties? They're just as bad. In fact, they're literally just as bad. At least in 2020, 6.4 per game, which was tied with the Ravens. You can't keep going backwards. Yes, I know they've improved it over the last couple games. Recently, they've improved it. But overall, 6.4 is atrocious. You can't keep going backwards if you want to win games. Another thing with going backwards is their O-line is good and not great. A good reason why their running game isn't great. Their O-line is aggressive. I'll give them that. But that can lead for that can tend to make holes where good pass rushing teams or run defense teams can take advantage of. Okay, you get pressure on Josh Allen, force him to scramble. Maybe he's not as good. We don't know yet. He's kind of having like an amazing year. So anyway, getting pass rush on Josh Allen, forcing him out of the pocket, making him uncomfortable, whether it seems to be effective or not at the beginning, could help Baltimore win. But this O-line could be detrimental because if you take sacks, you keep moving backwards. Okay, I've said it before, you keep moving backwards. It leads to not helping wins. But the fourth, and maybe the most important reason why Buffalo would lose this game is their run defense. They gave up 122.2 yards per game in 2020, which was 20th in the league. So let's take Baltimore's average of rushing yards per game during 2020. And just some quick basic math, 122, 194, that's about 155-ish, 155 yards per game. That would put Baltimore as the second leading rushing team in the league. If the averages held up, like the average, yeah, I think you get my train of thought there. But that's their average for 2020. In their last 3 games, Baltimore has outrushed the second leading team by 109 yards. 109 yards. That's more than Buffalo averaged in their last 3 games. Baltimore outran the second most team by that much. It's absolutely insane. Okay, this run defense needs to be decent. Okay, because if not, it is game over for Buffalo. They give up 8 rushing first downs per game, 1.3 rushing touchdowns per game, which is 27th in the league. Okay, this is bad numbers from this run defense. And if they want any shot at winning, they cannot keep this up. But will it be enough for them to lose? In my opinion, no. I think it'll be a very good game. I think it'll be a back and forth game. What I'm envisioning is a team takes a 14-point lead, the other one battles back. 7-point lead, the other team battles back. It'll be a very interesting game. It'll be a very fun game. It'll be an amazing game. It'll be one of the best this year so far. But I do have the Bills winning, 31-24. Would I be surprised if the Ravens won? No, I would not be surprised. Okay, Lamar is an amazing quarterback. Okay, in this year, recently he's looked outstanding. Okay, I like what Allen and Diggs have been able to produce over the course of the year better than what I've seen from Allen. So I'm sticking with the consistency of Diggs and Allen over this Ravens team. However, I haven't said my score yet. 31-24. I think Buffalo will win 31-24, which is my hair. I hate it sometimes. Which is a very good game. Very, very good game. However, Baltimore could absolutely destroy Buffalo through what I mentioned. Okay, their rushing offense is absolutely insane at 200, almost 300 yards per game in their last 3. 236 yards versus the Titans. I'm at a loss for words with that. But anyway, I do think the Bills will win. Maybe it's because I'm a fan of Josh Allen. A little bit biased there. It'll be a very close game. In fact, I'm actually going to change my prediction. 31-27, actually, is where I'm going to go with. But, 31 Bills, 27 Ravens. That's my official prediction. I will see you on the next video. Adios.